a pyramid. I mean, it was the most unbelievable thing. I said, you know what? This dog has got to be in the movie. There's no question about it. There's somehow, I don't know what, but any dog that can do that has star quality or is extraordinary. And that's how Butkus got in the movie. You know, he and I, we kind of like lived together. He was the one that I would bounce ideas of. When I'm sitting there at 3 o'clock in the morning writing, I say, what do you think about that? Obviously, he would say nothing, so he's a perfect writing partner. And anyway, that's the story of me and Butkus. The original ending of Rocky was quite different than what we have now. The original ending was he goes the distance and he's looking for Adrian. The crowd is starting to disperse. You know, 1 minute after the fight, yes, he did a noble thing, but time moves on. The champion is carried out of the ring, and Rocky starts to meander through the crowd. He eventually gets to the curtain. He pulls back the curtain at the back of the arena and sees Adrian, and she gives him a slight hug, and he picks up this small pennant like a flag, and hand in hand they start to walk back to the locker room. There's no one talking to him anymore. There's just trash strewn everywhere, and you just see these two solitary figures moving off into the distance, off into, like, you know, being anonymous forevermore. But they just had that moment, and all he could think about was how much he loved her and just getting back to his life again, the real life. And it just didn't seem very, very satisfying. So after we had done that, and that was the poster shot, we thought, boy, wouldn't it be interesting to catch a man's moment, a man's life at the quintessential seminal moment. So we went back, and I have friends in the scene. I have producers in the scene. We had about 30 people. We only had the money to do like 1/4 of the ring, so just a little corner. And you see these people going around in a circle, milling around, and crowds, and Rocky's going, just get everything out of my face. And he's yelling for Adrian, Rocky, Adrian, Rocky. And they had someone, as Adrian is running to the ring, again, very, very tight, they had like fishing line connected to her hat, and they pull her hat off. So, because I thought, wouldn't it be interesting that the first thing Rocky says when she comes into the ring is like, "Where's your hat?" I mean, he's so into her, into like the way she looks, and that he doesn't care that his eyes are swollen shut, his hands are smashed, and that he's done the greatest thing in his life. He doesn't say, "Look at me." He goes, "Where's your hat?" And he's like, "I love you." He goes, "I love you too." Yeah, I mean, the visuals working, the sound is working, the body movements are all coming together at this absolute peak. And right there, when I embrace her, I was sitting with John Avildsen, and we froze right on the single frame when he is looking elated, and he has her in his arms, and it's just this look of ecstasy. And the next frame, it went like, it just deflated. I said, there it is. From that moment on, it's all downhill. I mean, how we all hit this absolute maximum of elation and celebration, and that can only be sustained for like just an infinitesimal moment in time. And if you can you imagine how great it would be just to freeze on that moment? And that's how we froze Rocky. That the original Rocky, he went out at the height. His life will never be more rewarding or more important or more valid than that second. And it was a very, very difficult thing to do. I've been trying to do it in films ever since, to bring all those three elements together at the exact instant is it was like a minor miracle. Rocky, I had no idea was ever going to have this sort of response. I just thought it was some nice footage, because by the time the movie had done, it was probably about $950,000. It was very, very inexpensive. Many times we had just one take, and that was it. So when the screenings around Hollywood at the time were getting this unusual response, that people were actually reacting to the fight as though the fight were happening, I thought, wow, they're really invested in these characters. And I was starting to get phone calls from very, very celebrated people around town. I said, wow, this could be it. This actually is going to work. Now, you understand, because I really had no true confidence in it, because I had no film history, no real film knowledge. I was just working from, I guess, instinct, and I was not a filmmaker, and really not this is, as a writer, nothing had ever been produced before, so I didn't know if my writing really worked. Then finally, it was being shown at the Directors Guild, and this was going to be the test. And there was about 900 people invited, and it was a packed crowd, and the movie was playing terribly. My mother was sitting next to me, and the laughs weren't coming where they're supposed to, and the fight itself seemed to be listless, the response was, and I sat there as everyone filed out of the theater, and I couldn't believe it. I said, "Mom, I really blew it." It was all like, I don't know, it was nice while it lasted, but I guess when you get down and you show it to the big boys, they're just not buying it. Anyway, I sat there, and literally there was no one left in the theater, because I was humiliated and saddened by the whole thing. And even, you know, I walked her out, and I was walking down the steps, and there's 3 flights down. First flight, second flight, and then by the time I turned for the 3rd flight, the entire audience was down there. There was 900 people waiting, and they started to applaud, and I mean truly applaud. And I said, "How could you doubt me, Mom? I'm shocked." And it's like, I just completely came apart. And so there will never be a moment like that ever. I mean, I truly was over. I said, "This is it. I'm just gonna, go back home, take my dog, and go back into, trying to eke out a living." And they were all there, and they responded in a way. It's like, I don't know if that's the way they did things in Hollywood, but they saved it up, and I'll never get over that moment. I just looked at all these people, and they were applauding, and it's been all downhill since. Rocky never expected to win. Never. He knew it. He was that much of a realist, and I admired the character for that, because so often I had gone to fight films or sporting films. Yes, we're going to go out there, we're going to knock him out, you're going to win. I said, no, because I'm not going to win. I'm going to get destroyed. But if I can just be lucid, if I can still be standing on my feet, you know what? Then life isn't so bad. And I think, again, symbolically, at the very end of our lives, if we can still say, we were never humbled, we were knocked down, but we got up, and I can say, I lived life with integrity, and I took all the blows, as the song says, and I still prevailed. I think that's a good epitaph for anyone, and that's what I tried to capture in this film. But more importantly, I also realized that you can't be alone. To really succeed, no man really is an island, and it took the love of a woman that no one else loved. It took even the befriending of her brother, who no one could understand, but they gelled together. And Rocky brought this whole group, and with Burgess Meredith, and together they were like individual pieces, but together they made a whole entity, a whole person. And I think, personally speaking, that's happened to me too. When you find the right components in your life, the right people that gel with you, then you feel as though you're invincible. It may be a fallacy, but you at least feel as though you can take all that life has to dish out.
Okay, watch this now. Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. Watch Wepner with his right hand where he hits Ali, right by the heart. Let's watch for the punch. There's the left hand that sends him back. Now watch this punch. Bang! And it caught Ali by total surprise. Watch it again. Watch it again. Bang! He catches him. Ali turned. It caught him just by the ribcage, right next to the...